Welcome to a new month. Today is December 1st. Hard to believe we are on the home stretch. What I want to talk about today is stress and overwhelm. This is something that I hear all the time in my coaching sessions with my client. So many people experience stress and overwhelm on a daily basis. Recently, I was sharing with one of my clients that I rarely feel stressed or overwhelmed. And I shared with her that I am someone that manages my day, plans my week in a way that I should not encounter stress or overwhelm if it's in an area that I had control over. Now, we have to understand that stress and overwhelm is going to creep in. It is going to show up in our life. There's nothing that we can do about it. You could be plugging along just fine on a typical day, and you leave the home to drive somewhere, and a car hits you. It would make complete sense that you would feel stressed and probably overwhelmed by what just took place. So we can't eliminate stress, and to some degree, yes, we can manage it, but it's really about managing ourselves in the midst of stress and overwhelm. We can't control what is happening outside of us. We also can't control what other people do, how other people behave, and what other people say. So to some degree, our lives are always at the mercy of outside influences creeping in and creating stress and overwhelm with us. What we do with that stress and overwhelm is 100% our responsibility. But what I really want to talk about today is if you are feeling stress and overwhelm all the time, every single day, day after day. Why is that? Because if that is happening, that is not normal. If you are mapping out your week, planning out your week, if you are organizing tomorrow today, and if you are very cognizant of being very clear and realistic about how long it takes you to do everything that is required of you, all of your responsibilities, if you are able to be aware of that, then you will manage your days, you will manage your week, you will manage your life in a way that you shouldn't ever really feel stressed and overwhelmed. The reason people feel stressed and overwhelmed on a day-to-day basis is because they have too much on their plate. They have more on their plate than they are capable of doing. Another area that comes up when I hear that someone is always stressed and overwhelmed is the tendency to be a people pleaser. Not being able to say no to other people or no to distractions that pull you away. And this is very common in the working environment, but it's also common in the home. So it's important to understand that a lot of your stress and overwhelm you're bringing on yourself by packing in too much in a given day, too much throughout the week, or being distracted by things that don't serve you or don't align with that day's agenda, not being able to decipher what is important and what is urgent because everything is important, but not everything is urgent. Maybe you're not organizing tomorrow today, so when tomorrow shows up and if you already slept in, you start the day out stressed and overwhelmed. But if you're organizing tomorrow today, or mapping out next week, this week, you will prevent that because you already know what is on the agenda. Again, I rarely feel stressed and overwhelmed, and when I do, it's because something outside of my control took place, which is going to happen. And when you live a relatively stress-free life, when you are a stress and overwhelm avoider, like I would consider myself because of how I live my life, how I plan my life, when something arises, I'm less tripped up by that. Because first of all, I understand it's going to happen. Things are going to show up. I'm more able to logically think about what is happening so that I can be very aware of how I'm showing up in that moment, because often if we're reactive, it's counterproductive. It's not going to change that the stressor showed up. So I'm always looking at how can I be proactive and not reactive in this moment, even though, yes, I can feel the stress because something outside of my circle of control, something outside of my influence has creeped in and created that stress. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's also the contrast. Not every day is going to run smooth, but just because a day doesn't run smooth doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a day that has stress and overwhelm. I can't say every single day runs the same way. That's just unrealistic. But I really don't have stress and overwhelm unless it's something outside of my influence creeping in. One of the reasons for that is I know how much I am capable of achieving in a given day. I also know what my priorities are, so I look at what am I realistically dealing with from the waking hours that I have in that window of the time that I wake up and the time that I shut down. What can I realistically get done considering all of the responsibilities that I already have for that day, especially if you're like me and you work? You have to look at what are my work responsibilities. So if I have this pie in the sky dream that I'm going to get all these extra things done, well, it would make sense that I would feel stressed and overwhelmed at some point throughout the day when I'm recognizing I'm not going to get everything done. But if I were realistic about how much time I really had to get those things done, I probably wouldn't have these pie in the sky goals that I certainly cannot achieve. It's counterproductive for me to make those goals if it's not something I can realistically tackle. So that's how we do it. And that's what I see show up. It's a pattern with my clients. They put more on their plate than what they're capable of actually doing. And when it comes to your work life, you have to sit back and ask yourself, am I taking on more than what my role is? Am I working in my unique ability where I'm really good and I'm efficient and effective? Or am I taking on other people's responsibilities when they're being paid to take care of those responsibilities themselves? Am I establishing healthy boundaries with the people that I work with? Am I establishing healthy boundaries with my loved ones? Am I taking on more tasks than what I need to? Am I looking at what's a big agenda and what's a little agenda? The big agenda are those things that only I can do. No one else can do them. But there's so many things in our life, so many responsibilities that are the little agenda. Yes, they need to be done. Yes, they need to be maintained and kept up with, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to do it. Maybe I'm the best person for it, but there's someone else that can do it. There's someone else in the home that can unload the dishwasher, someone else that can unload the groceries, someone else that can sort the laundry, someone else that can take the garbage out to the curb. It shouldn't always be me. Someone else can fill my tank up or run an errand, okay? But we take on so many things thinking we're the only one that can do it, and as a result, we're constantly stressed and overwhelmed, and we brought it on ourselves. This can be managed. If this is an area you struggle in, I would love to help you. Let's do some coaching together. I will help you map out your week Map out your month, manage your time, organize your life, create systems and routines that serve you. Look at what you realistically can get done in a given day, what you realistically can get done in a week. What are the little agendas that we may need to delegate to someone else? And how often are you saying yes to people and distractions that don't align with what your responsibilities actually are or what your goals are? Love to help you. All right. Link to get started with me will be in the description box below. I will also have videos pertaining to this topic that can help you as well. I'll see you later this week with monthly empties for the month of November. Take care.